But having a course around like investing and like these real world like problems and situations, like that would be very helpful, especially for that younger generation. Like if I knew those things back in high school at the age of 15 and 16 and learning about stocks or credit, learning how to use a credit card, all these different things could definitely help you in the future. So somehow I feel like we have to like transfer that information or knowledge at a much, much younger age than like learning in our adulthood, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even though when you learn it, it's never too late, but imagine how early we could get it started.
Hey everyone, another day at Mentor.Social, and I'm here, Scott Hosbin.
Hi, I'm Dashe Williams.
And thanks again for all of the likes, the comments, and the emails. It's great to hear from some of our friends and family, and then hear some insights from some new friends. It really means a lot to us when we hear, that someone got anything out of us having a discussion. And that's our goal. Our main mission, for us to keep going in life in some way is to make sure everyone on earth has someone they can reach out to as a mentor. And we really want to just keep going and make that a mission and hope that anyone that also believes in that comes along with us and can help out. So the other day, we talked a lot about, we read an article and it talked about someone that interviewed thousands of millionaires and shared some of their insights. And we found it very striking that a large part of the U.S. population actually had a net worth of $1 million or more. I think it was around 8%. Even bigger, that the majority, like 80% of those folks, were new generational millionaires, meaning they made the money themselves.
Yeah, to me, that just means that there's plenty of opportunity out there, seeing that it's not being passed down from generation to generation. I mean, in some cases, yes, but to me, it's like everyone has an opportunity to create that wealth. You can create it for your next generation and pass it down along your family tree.
Yeah, no, it's just like we talked about previously, those three pillars for getting and leveling up, work hard, work smart, be a good person. And whatever, if you're at a level that you don't want to be and you want to get higher, think about what can I do more to put into, how can I be a better person? Can I work more? Can I work smarter? And you just keep incrementally filling more and more of those buckets. And then we guarantee you'll get ahead. And then I think one of the key points about the article from the other day was the first piece for everyone to change sort of and create new generational wealth was a mindset shift, and changing from a scarcity mindset to one of an abundance mindset so that the resources are out there.
Yeah, I know if you read the article, we might attach it in the link in our video here, but they talk about at the age of 7, like you're really witnessing, that's when your mind shifts and it changes, and this is when you can kind of look at what your parents are doing and you will mimic that in your future. So this is where you start to build your home base. So for me, when I look back at the age of 7, I would see my mom, she brings home, has a good job, but she's working paycheck to paycheck. I don't know anything about investing or real estate or anything like that. So by the time I'm older and I start doing that, I think living paycheck to paycheck is a normal thing. So honestly, I think by the age of 7, like you should try to transfer into your children and just show them new things. You might not think that they understand at that age, but they actually do.
Yeah, I think it's key, and it's, you just can't show, they'll do what they see and not what you tell them. And I think everyone knows that. I mean, and that's, so it's important for ourselves to even make sure we're doing the habits we want our children to have in the future, so that they see you as we talked about. I think some of the other points that it brought up, the amount of money you make does not necessarily make you wealthy. It's how much money do you invest. So if someone is making $500,000 a year, but they spend $550,000 a year, they're never going to create wealth. But if they're making $500,000 and they're living off of $50,000, they're going to create new and generational wealth. And we talked about the importance of not just saving. Saving is still, like money in cash is still a declining asset, because as the governments produce more and more revenue or more money into the economy, the dollar buying power gets reduced. So, we just had the largest printing of currency in the United States in the history of the United States. They put 40% more dollars into the pool. So if you think about that instantly watered down the buying power of your dollar. So remember that it's important not only to not spend everything you make, but also invest as much as you can.
I like that you say that because as I'm thinking, imagine like in high school, we talked about it a little bit in our last one, but having a course around like investing and like these real world like problems and situations, like that would be very helpful, especially for that younger generation. Like if I knew those things back in high school at the age of 15 and 16 and learning about stocks or credit, learning how to use a credit card, all these different things could definitely help you in the future. So somehow I feel like we have to like transfer that information or knowledge at a much younger age than like learning in our adulthood,
Yeah.
I mean, even though when you learn it, it's never too late, but imagine how early we could get it started.
Yeah, and I think to that point, we've talked about it, and one of our first guests that we have coming on is a guy, Dan, who's an expert investment advisor, and he's going to go through some clear tips of how to now invest that money early on and habits that will bring generational wealth. So as we start to bring on some speakers and schedule those in, we're trying to parallel it up with what we're talking about as far as an investment advisor. We have some lawyers that we're going to interview that talk about documents that can protect you in business transactions. Mindset coaches. We have a number of folks coming up that we'll be interviewing to get expertise in these individual items.
No, I definitely think you guys should definitely stay tuned for sure. We have a lot of great things coming. Like you said, we have a lot of interviews. We want to push out like the best content and have it out there as resource for everyone. Like it's good to hear from different like people that you may not have access to. And that's our goal here at Mentor Social.
Yeah, I mean it's something I can never say too many times again. I don't think anyone was born healthy and with a good mind and to just survive. We are born. You were blessed with the luck of having good health and a good mind. You're supposed to be maximizing that every day to create as much wealth as you can to help provide for the world. There's nothing noble about just barely getting by. So, we were all born with a purpose, and the more you get aligned with that purpose, the more wealth comes to you. And then, we have to kill that idea that like the money is the root of all evil. It's silly. It's no different than a table knife. You can cut your steak with it or someone could be stabbed. It's how you use the money. So we really want to make sure that we grow the wealth of those good people so that they can do more good in the world and make a change.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's about just keep continuing to further your education. The more you know, the more that you invest your time in with learning different things and expanding your just education overall, I believe you can end up in a much further situation. Just like how you mentioned, like the money is the root of all evil. We always hear that, right? But the more that we know, okay, maybe if I invest in this, like you expand where your portfolio, where you place that money, you can really go a long way. And as far as that, you might change your perspective on the money is the root to all evil. So continue education, continue learning, continue just guiding yourself just to be better.
Yeah, and find your own path. It's important to, just believe in yourself and what's nurturing you to have passion to make sure you go out and you get it, and what makes you give it your all. Go towards those tasks and things will work out. It kind of reminds me, we read a story today about the Chinese farmer. And I'd love to tell that to you because I think that relates to what we're talking about quite a bit. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. And that evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We're so sorry to hear your horse ran away. This is so unfortunate." And the farmer said calmly, "Maybe." And the next day, the horse came back bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back to his house and they said, "Oh my God, you're so lucky. What a great turn of events. Now you have 8 horses." Very calmly, he said, "Maybe." And then the following day, his son tried to train one of the horses. And while riding it, he was thrown off the horse and he broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh my God, this is so bad." And the farmer once again responded, "Maybe." And the next day, the military came to force people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And that night, all the neighbors clamored around and said, "Isn't that great? Your son gets to stay home." And he said, "Maybe." So it's wild that it's really impossible to tell whether anything that happens is really good or bad, because you never know what will be the final outcome of misfortune or good fortune. So learn to follow your heart and not get devastated by anything that might go wrong or seem like it's wrong in the present.
I hope you guys enjoyed that story as much as I did. I learned so much, and just talking about mindset once again, right? For me, what stood out the most is the farmer. The farmer's mindset during the whole process.
Yeah.
He just stayed and remained calm. Maybe. With that, he didn't show any frustration. He didn't just say, yay, this is going to be that. Like how the people reacted in his town and his village. They just kept coming to him like, oh, do you feel this way? Do you feel that? And he just said, maybe. He kept his calm. To me, that stood out the most. When you're able to just keep your calm and just relax, and things are going to happen the way they're meant to happen. How did you respond to that?
Yeah, I thought the story was so, had so much impact because, you find so many people in the world that every little thing is, oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God, this is so bad. And people need to label every event as good or bad. And I think it's good to take a step back and maybe look at events as just your life unfolding sometimes, and that not every bad thing that you think is a setback is actually a setback. It may lead to something better. I'd go as far to say is every single bad thing that's happened to me in life has generally led to a better situation. It's not 100% true like anything, but anything where I've gotten that feeling that, oh my God, my life is going to end. You look at relationships that end, you look at jobs that end, and it's the most catastrophic feeling that I could ever, it really is. And then lo and behold, you end up in a better job, a better relationship, and life moves on. So that I think this Chinese farmer really had it nailed down in that, keep your cool, keep your composure, and don't see everything as bad or good, and just see it as life unfolding. And that goes a long way.
Yeah, what it reminded me of is just being present, right? So not looking back at the past. Oh, this just happened. My son just broke his leg. Or not looking at the future, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to worry about this? Because I think when you're looking so far into the future, it kind of causes maybe like an anxiety, some sort of like rush that gets to you. You're kind of like a little antsy, wondering what's going to happen next, right? There's so many possibilities out there. We just don't know what will happen. So when you're in the present and you're just focused in that moment, I think you kind of calm yourself, right? There's some sort of like relaxation to just being here. Being in the moment, because when you're in that moment, there's nothing like it. Yeah,
no, and I think it's, there's that old saying, if you live in the past, you'll be depressed. If you live in the future, you'll be anxious. So it's really important to be in the present. And we've talked about it in the past. If something in the present, if you find yourself anxious or depressed, start looking around for what you're grateful for in that exact moment, because you can't really be anxious and depressed and grateful at the same time. So start thinking, okay, I'm fortunate I can walk around, I'm breathing, the temperature is good, I have friends, I have family, anything that comes up, you just keep reciting what's grateful, and that starts grounding you in the present.
Yeah, I definitely think that, it can be tough, like in that moment. For me personally, from my experience, during college basketball, right? As soon as I get to school, 2 weeks in, I get a concussion. After that takes me out for 2 seasons pretty much. And in my head, it was like the worst thing ever. I had my mind just focused on one thing and I can't perform it. So now I'm getting anxious. I'm just sad. I'm like, I don't want to play basketball anymore. But you know what? I just kept my cool during that time. I waited it out. Next thing you know, I ended up going to a very big school to play basketball. After that, I ended up receiving my bachelor's and my master's degree. Yeah. So honestly, like during those tough times, like I kept my cool, remained focused. I still looked at what was my goal. I still achieved it. And look at that, coming from that, you can say a bad situation. And look, I got good out of it. So I think definitely like during those times it will be tough, but your main thing is to stay focused. What is your goal? If you set focus on your goal and you truly and really want that, you can accomplish so much, honestly.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's sort of unappreciated, and rightly so. It makes sense, but sometimes even in business, you'll run in. I look back at a lot of bad situations in business. I've been doing entrepreneurial stuff since I've been a little kid, and in business, there's always some misdeeds. People always want your money, and I look at each of the times, someone stole $1,500, I remember, and you make it through that. Then it's 30,000, 40,000. You find people that you're paying and they're not going to work, or you find they stole money outright, or someone was selling my Harley Davidson and they sold it for cocaine, and then I could never get the money because he was bankrupt. Then later I've had people borrow money, thousands of dollars, they didn't pay it back. I had a general contractor that stole $300,000 from the business account, and there was, I didn't want to send someone to jail. I just wanted my money back, but I started to really think about it. I was like, okay, this must be a test. This is God's test for me. So I focused on, okay, what can I do to help him? Hey, I'll forget everything and just let me help you. And what I thought about it more is it's almost like lifting weights. Each time I deal with a situation, when I was dealt with it and it was $100 and I made it through it, it's like lifting 1 pound. When someone kind of took advantage of me for $40,000, okay, well, now it's like lifting the 45 pounds. Okay, 300,000, I navigated that and I got stronger. It's like lifting 300 pounds. It's like I become stronger and able to deal with tougher and tougher situations. So it leads me to be able to carry more of a load later in business and grow bigger. So, sometimes it isn't necessarily even you lose $1 and then tomorrow you get 3, which that happens, oddly enough. But more importantly, just by getting that struggle, it's teaching you to be a stronger person so you can help those around you. And then more importantly, you can handle more when you go out to the world and build your own business.
No, honestly, I love that. The way you just put all of that, you just learn. You learn it from your experiences. So even if they're bad, you just continue to build, and you know how to focus and use yourself in a better way. So I think that was really good. Thank you for sharing that. I think we all go through certain things sometimes, and we just have to continue just to build. We don't want to go backwards, but you learn from it. Like you said, with those pound and weight pounds, you just get stronger, and you know how to conquer anything and get through any challenges that you may face.
Yeah, no, I think it's, and start to look at things that you might have labeled bad as before as just an event. And then, with so often bad events leading to good outcomes, I think it's almost healthier to look at, and we don't mean, something that affects your health. Again, it's, but in just general life, there's so many little stumbling blocks or challenges that come in your life. And rather than looking at in a negative way, you can look at that and be like, man, thank you for this little struggle, because that's going to test me and make me stronger. And then I'm likely to get in a better situation later. It can really ease the stress in life if you start really not labeling those things as bad events.
And I think that just goes back to honestly changing your mindset, right?
Yep.
I think that's our ultimate thing within this whole entire episode is that mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
So just really hone in and focus, use your brain to its fullest capacity, and just don't give up. Maintain your goal and keep your focus on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you for watching us. We'll be back tomorrow, and reach out to us, send us your likes, your comments, go on Mentor Social. We're still beta testing that. So we'd like anybody that puts on any questions, any answers, and let us know if there's anything you have ideas for it to work better.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.